I'm Aryeh Schwartz, along with Rachel Galligan, and welcome to the Winsidr Show, where it's all about the W. Our guest today has almost 30 years of coaching experience covering every level of the game. Back-to-back national championships at Oklahoma City University, 2 stints in the W as an assistant coach in San Antonio and LA, and now the head coach of the Dallas Wings, Latricia Trammell. If you like our show, please consider joining our Patreon community, patreon.com/Winsidr. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can directly show support for the hard work we do covering the W. And don't forget to see our amazing staff's written content over at winsidr.com. That's winsidr.com. If you're looking to get tickets for the upcoming WNBA season or any other event, you don't have to worry. Thanks to our sponsor, TickPick, we got you covered. The original no-fee ticketing site and official ticketing partner of the WNBA 2021 champions, Chicago Sky. Use the link tickpick.com/Winsidr. That's tickpick.com/Winsidr. What an honor. Welcome to the show, LT. So glad to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I hope you guys are doing well and happy 2023.
Happy 2023 and happy free agency to you. I know I know you have been thrown into the fire, and I know that there's obviously a ton to talk about, a lot that we will be digesting here the next couple months. But this show's about you. We want to talk about you. We want to talk about your story. We want to talk about your journey to where you're at now. I guess we got to start at the very beginning. At what point in your life? How old were you? How did it happen? How did you fall in love with the game of basketball?
Oh, wow. That's for me that my family, that's where it started. I have 3 older brothers, Robbie, Donnie, and Ronnie, and my parents always told me if I was a boy, they were going to name me Lonnie. Nothing against Lonnies, but thank goodness I was a girl. But no, I had 2 brothers that played college basketball. Out of the 3, one wrote about it as a journalist, and the other 2 played. And my middle brother Donnie, he has coached basketball for over 30 years, and he was at the same high school that I attended, and I just saw what a reward it was and how he interacted with his players and just the love of competition. And I know even before my high school games, I would go over the night before and spend the night with my brother and his wife because I knew he would be watching film and I knew he would be gearing up for the game the next day. And I just wanted to be a part of it. So honestly, I can't remember ever wanting to be something else other than a teacher of the game and a basketball coach. And so I'm going to give all the credit where credit is due to my family, and just appreciate my parents for the upbringing and being around a competitive family, and just showing me what discipline and hard work looks like. And so I have been very honored and blessed.
That's awesome. And you played. Now, I don't want to just say, okay, what position were you? I want you to put it in current WNBA player terms. Were you like Jackie Young? Were you like Courtney Vandersloot? What type of player were you during your playing days?
Well, I will tell you, I definitely I could pass the ball. I mean, I could see the floor extremely well. I'm kind of like a Chelsea Gray. I like to make the fancy pass.
Nice.
I did like that. I really did. But I I was asked this question before, so I'd say a little bit of Chelsea Gray with the court vision, and I would probably go with probably Sabrina. I mean, I had that calm in the storm. I had a competitive spirit, but I'd love to knock down the three. So any of those players out in the league that knocked down the three, that's what I did. And we didn't, I'm going to tell on myself, we didn't have a 3-point line uh, back in the day, and so I was shooting from there, and it was only counting as a two. So come on now. Then when I left, and that's when I graduated high school, that's when they implemented the 3-point line.
Well, I feel like they should go back and readjust your scoring output based on if the 3-point line was there. That's just my opinion.
Hold on.
Well,
I
I
gotta
agree with
interrupt
that.
real
I appreciate that.
I have to interrupt real quick. I was talking to my aunt over Christmas, and she's
Yeah.
significantly older than you, and she was telling me how back when they were in gym, they could only
Mhm.
dribble the ball 3 times.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Yes. I've heard those stories, and you got to think about it too. Oklahoma, and that's where my home is, and where my family, where I grew up, and so that we go back to 6-on-6 days as well. And I remember my first college practice. I I kid you not. We were doing a fast break drill. We knocked it off the backboard. I our point guard grabbed it. I took off running the lanes, and I stopped at half court because muscle memory. I know I'm telling on myself.
Wow.
My college coach blew the whistle and said, "What in the world? Welcome to college. You can go past, the half court line." And I just thought, I came in feeling like I was just something else. I'm averaging 38 points and, scored over 40, 15 games. And I tell you what, coming back down to earth, I probably needed that more than anything. Trust me, I didn't do that again.
It's funny because so many people honestly just forget about that or never knew that that was a thing. So I think
Yeah.
that's amazing for you to share. So I get to ask this question because Rachel knows all of this because she's a college basketball savant. But tell us how you started coaching, and how that took you to an NAIA national championship, and then from there to LA. Like, how did you go from player to that?
Yeah, surrounded myself with incredible people. That is one way that I did it, and doing it the right way. I started at the high school level being an assistant coach, straight out of college at Midwest City High School. And I went from there to becoming the head coach. We made it to the state tournament. I think we lost only 10 games while I was there. And then from there, I went to Texas at the high school level, and um, had success at that. We went to the state tournament for the first time in school history, and I went directly to being a Division I assistant coach, and kind of made my way through the every level of coaching except for Division III and JUCO. And when I landed at the professional level, I was coaching at Georgia State in Atlanta, and I had a friend that I haven't talked to for over 15 years. And she replaced me at Denton Ryan High School in Denton, Texas. And Vicki Johnson actually called her and said, "Hey, I'm looking for an assistant coach. Do you have anyone in mind? Can you think of anyone that will be loyal, that works hard, that will be great with our players?" And unbelievable, I'm the only name that she gave her, and that's how it started. And then obviously the interviewing process with Vicki and Ruth Riley, and that's what landed me in San Antonio with the Stars. And I haven't looked back since.
It's so special because you have such a unique perspective. Really, have been at every possible level. I mean, obviously we could talk about different levels at the collegiate level, but such a unique story in everything that you have seen, the levels that you've been at. It's really refreshing to see and to listen to you talk, because I feel like I could just sit here for hours and pick your brain about
Well,
the
we need
game.
to do that sometime. I would love
We should. We
we
should.
could pick each other's brains.
Maybe when I come down to Dallas for the Final Four, we'll have to hook up. But
That's for
um,
sure.
I was going to say, was the dream always the professional level?
It was. But I will tell you, when I was giving my Hall of Fame speech at Seminole State, and I remember telling the group that someone asked me, when you were walking the halls of Seminole State College, and this is in a small town, would you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you would be coaching at the professional level? And I honestly, I looked at him and said, "You're dadgum right." I mean, that's this was my mindset then. As a high school coach, I thought, man, can I just get to the college level? And I think if you just work hard, you put all that you have into your passion. I'm a manic grinder. I've always said that. And you build those relationships, and you just be a student of the game, and give back and help grow the game. You're always going to have a chance. If you can see it, you can be it. And I think of Pat Summit, and I think of Sherry Cole, even at Oklahoma, since I was, living down the street, and people like a Division II coach, Coach Finley, at Oklahoma Christian. I mean, those are the people that I that took the similar path, so I knew it could be done. And so I just hope that I'm an inspiration to someone out there as well, that's wanting to do the same thing that I'm doing, because it is possible.
Something I noticed, obviously from far away, because I'm in DC and at the time you were in LA, but your extremely amazing ability to connect and motivate players, whether it's Taya Cooper doing TikToks with her, whether it's a legend like Candace Parker, getting her motivated on the defensive end for accolades that would be crazy to say someone of her level to get so late in the career. But I'm curious for you, from your perspective, why do you think you've been so successful in connecting with players, but also, everyone talks about your defensive minded, your ability to get them to buy into defense? Because, it's easy to say like, oh, you just have to put effort into defense, but you have to want to be a good defender. And that obviously takes motivation.
Well, that's a great question, but I honestly, I think it's just being authentic. I mean, just speaking the truth, and showing them ways to be successful. But I think that you always want to practice and celebrate the things in a way that you want, right? And when they do something that you want them to do, when they're being successful, show them. I mean, I'll chest bump with the best of them. I mean, I think they can hear my passion, and they see that what we instill works. And like I said, I think getting to know them as a person. When I first joined the league, I had someone tell me, "Now look, Coach Trammell, this is a business. Take the relationships out of it. Players will come and go, and that's just how it is." And I'm so thankful and blessed that I did not take that advice, because it is important. So I think getting to know them, what they want to accomplish on and off the court, is important. And then just working your tail off and showing them ways how to reach those standards and expectations that they set. But I honestly, I think it's about getting to know them, and learning about who they are as people, because we all have taken different paths to get where we are, and we're all fighting for the same thing. And so I think they know that, and can see and feel my passion, and that I do care about them, and I think that goes a long way.
Love that. I mean, long before this free agency, which we are just now getting at the beginning of, there was 5 coaching changes this offseason. I can't remember the last time that happened, but clearly a lot of movement amongst the league across the board from a head coaching perspective. I know you have been highly sought after. Obviously, landing in Dallas, congratulations to you once again. But I want to say, or I want to ask, what is it about the Dallas Wings in particular that was most appealing to you, maybe over some of the other spots?
Well, Rachel, I will tell you that I joke about this now looking back, but I went through 12 interviews with Dallas. And, at one point, when Greg Bibb, our general manager, would send me a email with a Zoom or an itinerary. He would say, I'm sure you're probably thinking that you're interviewing for the Supreme Court, and we joked about it. And, but I really, looking back, and I told Greg this, I really appreciated that, because not only were they interviewing and evaluating me, I was doing the same thing to them, because I knew I wanted to get this right, because it had to be the right fit for me. I wasn't just going to take a job just to be taking a job. And when in that 12 interviews, and talking to different individuals throughout the organization, I mean, honestly, I thought these people have this morning had a pep rally, and they're getting all fired up and talk to me. I thought I was trying to motivate them, and every one of them had such a passion for the Dallas Wings organization. They were service minded. They were forward thinking, and I thought, this can't be real. And I'd talk to the next person, and it would be the same way. And I thought, I want to be around that. I want those to be around an organization that cares about the community, that cares about their players. And so that was a top two for me of taking the position. But just the youthfulness of the roster. I mean, I love the style of play. It's the style that I like. I want not to get in too detailed with it, but obviously the up tempo and just wanting to get up and get after it on the defensive end. But this is a group that I want to give them the best possible experience that they can have. I want them to feel appreciated. I want them to feel valued. I want them to have ownership in what we're doing, a seat at the table. And that's what they want. And I talked to, a couple of players during the process as well. It's just going to be an exciting time. I hate this time because I just want to have the final roster, and I want to be in the gym where I feel the, most comfortable and get to work. But it's a great place to be. There's, multiple professional teams in Dallas. It's a great city, great fan base. And I know that I don't know if we'll talk about our staff. That was just previously announced. They have taken a similar path that I have, and it's hey, onward and upward. I'm extremely excited.
Well, that's a perfect segue. I've been dying to ask this question, and feel free to go long winded and talk about the staff a little bit more. But this is a thing that we often don't get to do when we're interviewing head coaches, because normally it's either right before the staff is finalized, or so far after that it's so far behind.
Right.
But as you're going through the process of interviewing people to join the staff, I'm just so curious, and obviously there's some secret sauce you might not want to share, but like, what are the questions you're asking? And then after you formalize your staff, how do you decide who takes on like what roles?
Yeah, that's the fun part. It really is. And I will tell you, I talked to some amazing individuals. I had a lot of coaches in the league, former coaches in the league, and then even college coaches that reached out wanting an opportunity to be on staff. So I was so honored and blessed and excited that they wanted to be a part of the Dallas Wings organization. And there I made a list of individuals that I thought would be a good fit, for me, whether it be a previous relationship or what they have accomplished in the league or player development. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. But I was really looking for culture people, people that were loyal, uh, that were like minded but challenging, that wanted to grow the game in the right way, that were manic grinders, that wanted to build relationships with these players. I mean, those are really important. But I also wanted to feel comfortable with them, and so there are several coaches that I talked to on multiple occasions. I went to see, and it was really a hard but easy. Final group that I put together. And when I say that is there were just so many great coaches and people. But when I talked to Brandy Poole, April Shillings, Courtney Paris, it was just a no-brainer for me. I mean, the way that we had our chemistry was already there. We clicked. We wanted the same thing. You could hear the passion in their voices. They're wanting to make a change. They're excited about Dallas. They're excited about the roster. And I just kept going back to them. I'd say, okay, I've got to get it right. I've got to get this decision right. So I would call somebody else and talk to them a little bit more. And then I kept just going back to these individuals, that I mentioned, and I'm going to include Zach in there as well as our player development coach. But, and then I would ask, I'm going to be honest. You talked about, relationships with players. I called several players in the league, former players and current players at the time, and asked them what they thought. And I only heard good things. And so I at the end of the day, I just felt like this was the right decision. And we talked about expectations. We talked about their role. I asked them what they felt comfortable doing. If I didn't want to put them in a box per se, offensively or defensively, but if they had a choice, what would that look like? Um, what are their standards and expectations for their professional career? What are they wanting? Um, and so I really dug deep. I talked about their families. They talked about their families. I talked about mine. I asked them what a typical day looks like for them, after practice, things that they love doing. I talked about some adversity they've had in their life. Um, how did that, frame the person that they are today? I talked about, losing my parents and my brother, you know, uh, not too long ago, and so we just really connected outside of X's and O's. I mean, we know that will come, and we did talk about it, um, but it was building relationships again, and I just feel like that these individuals, it was just the right fit. I mean, I know I'm rambling, but I'm excited about them, and I'm excited about these players getting to know them as well.
We fully the Winsidr show is all about rambling for our guests, so you are totally in line. But you kind of segued into this perfectly, so I'm kind of worried that maybe you hacked our computers and you're looking at our show notes. But this current team, I mean, stacked with young talent that I think the best way to encapsulate what's going on with them over the past few years has just been lack of consistency. And I'm curious for you, do you think that's a fair comment? And what do you think the potential is for this roster?
Oh, sure. I mean, I definitely think you probably, could say that for sure. And, when I was looking into the Dallas Wings team, through this interview recruiting process, I'm an analytics person, and I love that. And you've got to give Dallas Wings credit for what they've done in the past several years.
Hmm.
And they're very youthful, making it to the playoffs. They've had a taste of winning, which that helps greatly, as we all know. But I look back through all the WNBA league champions uh, to 2016, and all of those championship teams had roughly an offensive rating, a defensive rating of top three offense, top four defense. And when you look at the Dallas Wings team, they were right in the mix. They were top four offensively, but they were ninth defensively. Uh, this team wants to win, and I thought, I am defensive minded. Don't sell me short on the offensive end, because I really like it too. Being a college head coach and going through that journey, but this is a team that has a high ceiling. They're right on the edge. Uh, our goal, honestly, and the expectations of winning a playoff series, trying to get to that next level where these players want to go. I've talked to all of them, and they're wanting to be committed to the philosophy that we're wanting to implement, and they're just wanting to win. And so that excites me to know their passion and excitement. But the Wings are right there, and so we just got to finalize the roster and just get to work.
So, what is it about? I know you can't say much, especially this early on in the game. We'll have to talk again later. Free agency has passed, but in terms of just the strategy wise, as you guys are going into this period of time, we've seen a lot more movement of big names. We've seen a lot more movement just in the league in general. In your thought, is that good or bad for you? And then, secondly, what is your strategy headed into this, and how do you help take this team from where it's been to where you want it to go?
Well, I'm fortunate. I have a great general manager in Greg Bibb that does a lot of the negotiation and decision making through this process. And you're right that there's a lot of movement, but it's fun. I mean, you guys are just loving it, aren't you? I mean, this gives us some great things, to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. Change is good. It's hard at times, but change is good. And with our roster, obviously, yes, I can't say a lot because you guys know this. It changes every other day. There's highs and lows. I always tell people I feel, being in Dallas, I feel like I'm at Six Flags when it comes to free agency. You get excited, and then all of a sudden the next day it's not happening, and then you get excited. So it's just part of the process. But any movement that is made, and I'm going to say this even on our roster, we want them to be happy. We want them to make the right decision for them. But it's that's easier said than done, because we also have to get value for these individuals that that are being maybe recruited from other teams, and I'm or want to leave a certain team, or it goes, this goes on all through the league. And but there's a lot that goes into that. I'm learning that more now. I'm looking at people that are available, and I'm going, oh my goodness, we've got to get her, and we've got to get this player, and then I'm reminded that there's a cap that we have to stay under. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's money involved here. But we want obviously the well-being of every player, and there's a reason that they want to leave a particular team, or um, make a change for them. And we only want the best for them, but we also have got to do what's best for us. And that's put together a incredible team and give them the best experience they possibly can have, and just do it the right way, and help grow them as women, and just hopefully foster lifetime relationships after that.
Well, I mean, I think you touched on it perfectly, because the W is a very unique league that, in many ways, we could talk about for hours, like you said. But historically, we've seen a lot of great players request trades. I mean, the likes of the greatest center in league history, Sylvia Fowles, Elena
Right.
Deladon, Liz Cambage, Tina Charles, and so on and so forth. So it's a fairly common thing, and I appreciate you kind of opening the window to let us into the vision from the team side, because from the fan perspective, from the people on the outside, I think often they look at it and they go, oh, give the players whatever they want. But you put it perfectly. You want what's happy for the play, what's best, and to make the players happy. But at the same time, you need some return, because your mission's also still bring a ring back to Dallas. So I'm curious for you, like, what is an LT led Dallas Wings team?
Well, I one that's hardworking, and you can see their passion on the court, high intensity, pushing the pace on offense. Um, I always like to say, because the players say this a lot, is that the offense allows all five players to eat, and then defensively, I think this is where we're really going to enhance this team, is changing it up defensively, and really getting up and forcing some havoc on our opponents. And that's something that we'll obviously start talking about day one. But just a group that the fans will enjoy watching, that give back to the community. I'm going to say that again, because Dallas is such a close knit community, and we're doing a lot out there already. Uh, but a group of players that bring the attitude, that are competitive, that you can see the desire to win, and they'll have a voice. And because I, like I said, and we've talked about, I'm a player's coach, and we'll put the right system in place, and it's going to be exciting. It really is. Like, I know I keep saying that, but I think that probably shows that I'm just ready to get going, and get this started. But um, yeah, I mean, I think just all of those things will be fun to watch for sure.
You know, this question, we just have a couple more, and then we'll get into our fun rapid fire questions. But you've had a lot of different hats in your career. You've been at the helm, you've been an assistant. I have to ask, just going from an assistant in the league to now being that head coach, is that an easy switch to flip for you? Is it pretty natural for you to be in this spot right here?
Honestly, I feel like I've been preparing this for my entire life, because, and I know this is going to sound a little bit out there, but I do that positive imagery, and I have talked to my press conference, I don't know how many times. I mean, I've spoke this into existence 1,000 times, and I've always stayed ready, and because I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I knew it was going to happen. It just needed to be the right place and the right timing. And so I have been preparing for this. I'm still preparing for this. And so far, it's felt extremely natural, but there's always learning curves and growth that's going to take place throughout the season.
Love it. I love hearing you talk. You can just hear the passion for what you do in your voice, and it's so refreshing. And I love just speaking it into existence. Like you said, you felt like this moment would come at some point in your life, and here you are. We are so thrilled to, you know, talk to you and get a chance to analyze you, and hopefully have you back on multiple times and just see what this Dallas Wings team can be. I think I speak for everybody, you know, listening, all the fans out there, that clearly there's a ton of potential, and I'm personally excited about the defensive end of the floor with them as well. I've got one more question from myself,
Okay.
and then I'll let Aryeh kind of take over the rapid fire. But you know, I want to talk about Awak and Satu just in particular, just your personal perspective of those two, and really what is the next step for their growth and what's their ceiling?
Oh, come on. These are two players that are, I mean, they're just getting it done overseas. I mean, I don't know if you've seen a walk even today in some of the videos that our social media team have been posting. But she's knocking down three. She's running the floor. She's leading the charge, getting a few dunks. This is a young lady that I am extremely excited about. I definitely think when she becomes more consistent and knows her role and feels comfortable in the position that she's going to be in. Um, I think this is going to be her breakout year. I'm saying it right now. I really do. If all goes well and she stays healthy, I just think she's where the league is heading, and just that versatility and a lot of movement on offense, and she can defend multiple positions. So I'm excited to do a few things with her, scout wise. So that should be fun. And then Sod too. I mean, what an incredible person that she is. And having an opportunity to talk to her, her and Aryeh came to my press conference, which I thought was said a lot about them and their commitment to this team. And when you think of Sod 2, we got to keep her healthy. That's number one. I know she feels incredible right now playing overseas. But she can shoot the three, and you can see that in her, and she can defend multiple positions. She can embrace what small ball looks like. She can embrace what I call big ball, what it looks like. I think she needs to, have a more definite role, and I can't wait to, work with her on that. But, you know, bringing up her rebounding and just her 3-point percentage, her ability to attack the rim. I mean, she's a special player, and she's hard to defend. I know. I had to do the scout against her.
I love that the topics that you touched on with both these players were more offensive minded, because people
Yep.
like to paint you into that defensive box. All right, rapid fire. It's fun. We say rapid. If you need a second to think, take your time to think.
Okay.
But keep in mind, these are fun questions. What
Okay.
gets you more hyped, a block or a steal?
Oh my gosh, that's both. That is both. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, it's probably time and score on that too, right? Let's go steal.
Okay. Toughest player to defensive game plan against in the league.
Oh my, come on now. Hey, every coach in the league.
Okay. Okay. I like how you're twisting these. How did you celebrate your national championships?
With family
Oh, I love
and the
that.
team. Yeah.
This might be the toughest question, so be prepared. It's a fun one. Start, bench, cut with three WNBA legends: Lisa Leslie, Tamika Catchings, and Cynthia Cooper.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? What is
Rachel was like, let's not put her on the spot like this. It's like, nah, we got to.
That's a
this? And
terrible
I'm
question.
no, I'm taking all three of them. I mean, and if I cut one of them or not start one of them, I need to be run out of the league.
So are you
No
saying that you're
way.
going to opt out of the question?
I I'm time at yeah, I'm taking the final buzzer went off. I'm heading to the locker room.
You forfeit.
That's when you by accident touch a referee on the shoulder and you get ejected, so you don't have to handle that.
Thank you. That is it. That is it.
Favorite vacation spot?
Colorado.
Yay!
I'm a fly fisherman. I like to go to that Gunnison Crested Butte area. I lived there for a long time, and I that's my safe haven. That's my
Wow.
What's
mental health.
what's the biggest fish you've caught?
Oh, fish for trout, and so obviously it depends on the type of type of fish. But I've caught some really big ones. If you want to get into really detailed, I can go into the catfish and all of that, and we're getting way up there.
We'll have to do a
We'll come back.
Winsidr episode.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go. There we go.
We'll have to redo this question after you win a championship, because then you can just be like, oh, the WNBA
So,
championship. That
when
was,
we win this championship, we're all going to Colorado. How's that fly
there we go.
fishing?
Team fly fishing podcast episode.
That's right.
I love it. Well, LT, thank you so much for making the time. I know you're extremely busy these days, but we really appreciate it.
No, I want to. I know I say this to you when I'm talking to you not on air, but I'll say it again. Appreciate the both of you, what you do for this league, for growing the game. It's absolutely fantastic, and we have a lot of love for you guys. And thank you for having me on.